Hello, hello. I hope everyone's having a good holiday season. I hope we're all getting our winter break in between the crazy fall season and what I hear the spring season is going to be with beekeeping. So, I wanted to share this Maryland State Beekeeping Association meeting that I went to where it was one of their big ones. They're having elections and they had expert speakers come in. And I heard that Phil Frank was going to be there, which he put on a speech for EAS this year, and it was all that my beekeeper friends could talk about. So when I heard that he was speaking at this meeting, I was like, I'm not missing it. And they also had a honey show where you could enter in some equipment. So of course, I also had to bring my hive body with me to get judged. I was really excited about all of the expert speakers. They were very fascinating, and I'm going to show some clips later. But this is the t-shirt stand that they had. They're pretty dope, and I kind of wish that I had bought one, but I didn't. Next time. And then this is the book that Phil Frank worked on with his amazing photography, and there were awards given out, and there was the speakers were incredible, and this slide right here is the breakdown. I'd never seen anybody break down, I haven't seen this yet, where they broke down the genuses and the species of all the bees and the bee families, and I thought that was really cool. So I definitely took a picture of this just to have on hand. I have never gone to college before, so funny enough, this was my first time being in one of these college auditorium rooms, and I felt very studious. I felt very grown up, even though I am a fully functional adult with two children at this point. But this was a lot of fun for me. As I said, the speakers were incredible. He broke down some information about DCAs, information we know and information we don't know. We're still learning so much specifically about drones, actually. So this slide is about how a natural colony would have set themselves up inside of a hollow of a tree. You can see where the drone brood would be, where the brood nest would be, where the pollen storage would be, where the honey storage would be, and possibly where they would kind of cluster during winter. So that was really fascinating to see. This slide was actually also very fascinating, and I'm going to butcher all these slides up because these speakers, they went in detail about all these things, and that's why it was so fascinating. I'm kind of addicted to going to these speeches now because I feel like it's so much information that I don't even know if I can actually download it, if that makes sense. But this was about how the studies of swarms decision process, how a scout bee will kind of go out, they'll find a location they really feel good about, they'll come back, they'll do their waggle dance and kind of convince a bunch of other bees like, yeah, I found the perfect spot. Well, other scouts are kind of going out and they're coming back and they're doing maybe their waggle dance a little bit more vigorously. Those are those thicker bars that you see. They might start out as thick bars, like the how many bees, that the accumulation of how many bees are convinced to go to these next locations. But ultimately, it's really who can do the most convincing. And so that you'll have a bee convince a bunch of bees that this is the perfect location, and then that'll dwindle down, and then another bee will come in and convince have a bigger audience of bees listening to them, and they'll ultimately decide on that spot or not. It's a democracy, so it was really cool. This study was very fascinating to me. This was another picture. I'd never seen a spermatheca from a virgin queen or a mated queen. As you can see, the virgin queen is clear, and the mated queen spermatheca is opaque. And like that slide says, it's 5 million plus sperm, and it'll be stored for life. It's fascinating that we have the technology to be able to dissect queen bees, to be able look how small that is. That's so cool that we can even do that kind of stuff. And then this is after the judging, after some of the speakers happened. This was the judging. I won second place, which is really good considering that the other entries that were put in were fantastic. Like, oh my gosh. This gentleman actually is based in Montgomery County, and his business is called Aperture Apiary. Aperture Apiary. And he creates these 3D models, and I was so enamored with this that, you know, I had to go contact him. That's right. I bought one of these sets. I think this is a great educational tool. I plan on hopefully doing some education for Pathfinders, for my son's Pathfinders, about beekeeping so they can get their patches. But maybe some of them might be allergic to bees, but they still want that patch. They still want that knowledge. So I think this would be a great educational tool for those who can't actually do an apiary tour because of allergies. But they would still be able to get that knowledge, which I think is great. And then this other entry was an observation hive, and I love this observation hive. This is basically what I believe is two shallow frames, um, back to back, one right side up, upside down, and then they took two deep foundations and they slid it into the bottom of they cut a hole, they cut like a hole out of the middle of the shallow frames and slid the deep foundations between there. And this would be another great educational tool if I knew how to do observation hives. So this is for a future Kelly, but I really love this setup. I think this would be really cool again for another educational tool. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, watching this. Dad, I hope you enjoyed this little mini video about what this looked like to go to this meeting. It was a lot of fun, and I love you all the time, every day. All right, bye!